from the return of Hunico and Camacho to the return of Rey Mysterio and also the debut of Xavier Woods. Honestly, guys, I liked this Raw a lot. I rarely have any complaints or any negative comments about this Raw. I might have a handful, which means maybe about three. Yeah, it was about 3 or 4. But it's not that bad. It does not taint my overall view of the show. I will say this: the Divas segment, it wasn't even a segment. The really dumb match that they had with the musical chairs of Florida Georgia Line was just dumb. It was really stupid, and it really didn't showcase them at all. And seeing how Natalya was out, I think she was happy to be out because knowing how completely just stuck in the mud that she kind of is on well, according to the Total Divas, she kind of doesn't have much of a sense of humor, so it makes sense for her to be out first. But honestly, it was just dumb. It really was. Didn't do much for the Divas at all. And honestly, I hated that entire segment. I hated that match. I don't know what it was. I just hated it. And another thing, why have the overall country theme if you've been to Nashville about 1,000 times to show Raw? What's with the whole country thing? Why are you calling it country when it really wasn't country based? The only thing that was country about it was Georgia Florida Line. I like the band. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind country. I like some country bands. But it just wasn't for Raw. Like, this is something that you should see on a pay-per-view like SummerSlam or WrestleMania. And I'm hoping they don't have any musical talent this year. But either or, this is something that you would see on a Big Four pay-per-view. So why have it on Raw? What, you couldn't go to Vegas this year, so you had to have some kind of overall theme? I don't know, maybe that's the case. Maybe they couldn't go to Vegas this year and they couldn't have Raw Roulette, so they end up having to have Raw Country instead. But that's just me. And also, Triple H and Stephanie really can't decide whether they're going to be business heels or just business people. Like, they just, I don't know. Are they trying to be go-betweens or what? Like with Randy Orton, the thing is, if you are a business heel, you back up your heel people no matter what. Even if they don't really need it, you still back them up because you're a heel. You look out for other heels unless the heel betrays you. That's how it usually goes. But at this point, they're saying, okay, if you're the face of WWE, you got to prove it. And not only prove it to us, but prove it to the crowd. And I'm like, okay, now y'all going back to being business people. It's supposed to be like a faction, like a corporate faction. Is it breaking apart? Is the story kind of moving on? Are you guys sticking to the whole corporate takeover? I don't know. It's like they're changing their minds here. But it's the WWE. They're completely fickle and very dynamic. They don't stick to the same thing all the time, and that's a given. Even though it's really annoying for me storyline-wise, I have to say this. You know, it's they change your mind all the time. That is how it is. So I'm just going to move on from there. But I will say this. The matches, oh my gosh. I loved it. Brad Maddox. I literally have the utmost respect for that man. He did the almost perfect DDT that I have seen anyone do in a long time. And Brad Maddox, he was supposed to be a wrestler, but he sucked at it. So that's why they put him on a mic. That guy is good. He's really good. And I'm like, I know he's holding back here. The fact that he did a better DDT than Randy Orton would ever do. And I really hope that he actually took the pin. He had a lot of offense for a few minutes. And then, of course, Randy Orton ended up taking over. And how somehow Randy Orton ended up winning. But regardless of that, Brad Maddox didn't look bad at all. I really have the utmost respect for Brad Maddox right now. I understand why OTRS was on the Brad Maddox train, and I'm starting to become, you know, a little bit partial to Brad Maddox, and I have the utmost respect for him now. But as usual, I have no respect for Vicky because let's face it, she's never in any situation to where she's has any kind of respect. She loses her dignity in every single night when she's on the screen, and she lost her dignity even more when she was in a match with AJ Lee. And the fact that you're running from little old AJ just shows that, girl, where have you been? Like, seriously, what's going on with you? Like, really? I'm just getting tired of Vicky being humiliated, let alone them being on the show at the same time. They shouldn't have GMs at all because, let's face it, Triple H and Stephanie are pretty much squashing them without even trying. Brad Maddox is supposed to be the GM of Raw. He's barely GM of Raw because Vicky is taking over. Vicky barely takes over SmackDown because Brad Maddox is there. They don't need to have GMs anymore. Seriously, they don't. But I will say this. It was somewhat comical to actually see Vicky Guerrero taken out on a gurney after she tried to fake her injury. I will say that is pretty freaking funny. But moving on from the segments to the matches. The matches were spot on. They're doing a good job in hyping up Survivor Series. This is something that they're supposed to do because Survivor Series, people think that the Royal Rumble is the turning point before WrestleMania. No, my humble opinion is Survivor Series. Survivor Series sets up the hype because usually tickets sell around that time. Tickets sell around the time of Survivor Series, or maybe about a week or 2 weeks before. This is when you hype up WrestleMania. This is when you hype up people for the other pay-per-views. So honestly, they're doing a great job in doing it. And lately, Raw has sucked in promoting their pay-per-views. But I will say this, they're doing a good job promoting it with every match. The only match I didn't really much care about was the Great Khali's, but it was really great to see Hunico and Camacho come back, but just to be squashed, they kind of wasted their time. I don't know what happened to the Los Matadors. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Primo wasn't there that night. I don't know, maybe he was injured or something. And they had to find a way to pull it off, so he had to go back to this whole Hunico thing. But, honestly, I think that was the only match I didn't pretty much care for. But I really did like... I liked the match between the Big Show and Ryback. I really did. That was a really good match to see. But Ryback, I don't know what happened to him, man. Maybe because of the fact that he was wrestling 20-pound weaklings the first time he came out, to where he's never really been truly seasoned. Because the only time he's been seasoned is when he went against John Cena. And now he went up against the Big Show and he couldn't really stand out because the Big Show just clocked him and boom, he's gone. But yeah. I mean, and also with Curtis Axel, man, was I happy! You have no idea how happy I am. The fact that the forgettable one lost the belt. It made me happy that Big E Langston is now your new IC champion. You have no idea how happy I am. Because I am tired of Curtis Axel having that belt over his shoulder and doing absolutely nothing about it. So it makes me really happy to see that Big E Langston is now the new IC champ. And I know that he's going to actually hold it to some prestige because this is his first belt. It's his first belt that he ever had. And he's going to defend it and defend it well. And I'm excited to see how he defends it in later pay-per-views if they do it at all. But honestly, guys, my personal main event of the night was the main event of the night. The 12-man tag. Oh my goodness. High octane throughout the entire match. I was literally just jumping on the bed going, yes, 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 because it was awesome. It was awesome to watch. I have never been this excited in a while, man. And honestly, it was really a great match to watch. I really enjoyed myself. It was really an all-out brawl. And not only that, Rey Mysterio came back. And not only Rey Mysterio, but Xavier Woods made his debut with R-Truth. I was happy. I was really happy to see that. Him versus the Real Americans. I was really happy to see that, man. Because if people have not watched NXT, you should watch it for Xavier Woods. Because even though he has the whole 70s vibe going, that guy can fight. And he's the best high flyer that I have seen in a while. And it's really great to see two high flyers together. Well, one is a half and half, but either or, it was a really great match to watch. He had a really great debut. And I'm hoping he has more matches on Raw. But my overall thoughts of the show, guys, is that they really did a good job in promoting Survivor Series. There was a few matches that I didn't care for. And also, I didn't care much for the Divas. But they're really setting up Survivor Series really well. As well as the WrestleMania hype, since the tickets have pretty much already probably sold out by now. But they're really doing a great job promoting Survivor Series. And from there, I think the pay-per-view is going to be a lot better than they were. But what are your overall thoughts of Raw? Leave a comment in the comment section below or send a video response. Because, guys, honestly, I got nothing more bad to say about Raw except for those few moments. But I really did like it, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about the next week. This is Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.